What is your favorite game?
Oh man, so I have a favorite genre of
Okay.
game. You
Yep.
shouldn't even ask me that.
Yes. I definitely
So,
saw that you have a genre that you like, but I thought
yes,
I'd let you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there is a genre. It is
Yeah.
called immersive simulator,
Right.
and it is, you know, they're not extremely profitable,
Yes.
so they don't make them often.
Right.
But examples of immersive sims are Deus Ex,
Okay.
Hitman,
Yep.
Dishonored,
Okay.
things like that. Things where you the way to complete the game isn't linear.
Okay.
You have a multitude of different ways you can solve problems, like in real life,
Mm,
right? So it's
mm-hmm.
not like, oh, you just got to kill the dude to get from point A to point B.
Right.
You can kill the dude, or
Right.
you can put him to sleep and hide the body, or you can, talk to him and maybe he'll give you a key, or you can talk to someone else who maybe will let you in through the back door, or you can go in through the roof, or you can go in through the
Mm,
basement, or you can go in through the side door, or you could just get the mission all together because you really
yeah.
even need that item because you complete the game without it. And I think that really, for me, has so many intellectual merits. I feel
Right.
so stimulated because it's a puzzle, but I still get all the benefits of all the games that I enjoy, right?
Right.
So, but I'm not distracted by a multiplayer because, like I said, I'm introverted. So, like, when people are talking at me, I get, the insecurities start coming up because
Mm,
everybody's like playing all fast and they're so
right.
good at it, and
Right.
I'm behind, and they're just like, "Come on, you don't know how to play," and I'm like,
Right.
"I don't,"
Right.
But like immersive sims, you can kind of go at your own pace. A lot of times they are narratively excellent
Mm-hmm.
stories. They have
Mm-hmm.
to be, because you have to be able to immerse yourself in the character and in the
Mm,
world that you're in to really solve those problems and be
right.
detail oriented. And they're just robust
Mm,
games.
mm,
However, there's not a whole lot of ways to put DLCs in there.
right.
So you can't constantly get players to buy into it. You can't constantly get players to like sort of hold each other in the game
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of strategies of MMOs. It's like,
Right.
oh, I'm playing this, get on and play this with me,
Right.
which is great, but not great for a person like me because I
Right.
I
Right.
use video games as escapism. I use
Right.
video games as just that's my me time.
Yeah.
That's when I'm going, save the world as
Yeah.
whoever I am.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to this game called Deathloop, which
Death
is
Loop.
Deathloop.
Okay.
Yep, and
All
it's
right.
got like black protagonist in it. So I'm already like,
I'm writing it
and
down.
they are just delicious looking. The game is by the same company that makes Dishonored, so
Got
I
it.
know
Okay.
there's going to be some immersive simulator aspects in it,
Right.
not being a complete immersive sim.
Right.
Um, but yeah, those are my favorite games. I
Yeah.
do have other game genres that I enjoy,
Right.
but those would be my top. Anything in that area,
Yeah.
anything in that genre.
I feel like I saw a stream of somebody, Paper Pat, who I also interviewed, and he was on Twitch. And I feel like he was doing a stream of maybe one of the games you mentioned, maybe Hitman or something like that. But like he was like walking through a building and he was like trying to like figure out what it was in different places and things like that. Is that the type of game that's like immersive sim where you're like trying to solve something, but you don't? There's no like it wasn't like any of those games where they're doing like all the shooting all the time or
Yeah,
anything
no,
like that. Okay.
I can't. Like, I need to hide behind a corner for a minute. Like, I needed to
Yeah.
stop for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
And in most first person shooters, you need to constantly be,
Right. Right.
looking for the next headshot, and
Yep.
it doesn't give you variation in gameplay. So like,
Right.
I actually get sleepy when I play first person shooters. Isn't that
Oh,
weird?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
get like sleep because of
yeah. You
how
might get
relentless.
overwhelmed too. Yeah, like the yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Mhm,
my brain gets overstimulated and then it
mhm.
just detaches,
Right,
and I'm just like,
right.
I can't. I'm not in it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but yeah, I was like playing Outriders,
Okay.
and which was a fun game.
Yep.
But like I'm not attached to the narrative. I'm not
Right.
attached to getting the items. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun, but it's not
Right.
immersive,
Right.
to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
So, but like that was a long-winded response, but those were
No, I love it. I want to now. I want to like learn more about those types of games because yeah, I saw it when I was researching. I saw that that was your favorite type, but I hadn't really heard of any of those games. So now I want to like look into. What platform do you play them on?
it depends. Like
Okay.
being the founder of a video game
Right.
organization, I
Right.
actually have all the systems, except for a PlayStation 5 that has eluded me. But
Oh,
otherwise,
wow. I
yeah,
thought they were back now. Okay. Okay.
we'll see. But
Yeah.
I have everything else. So I have
Right.
PC, VR, Xbox,
Yep.
PlayStation 4, I
Yep.
guess, Switch. Like, so I have all of them, and they all have different merits.
Okay.
Really, what really brought me back to gaming,
Yep.
believe it or not, was Nintendo Switch though. So
Great
I was
console. That's what I have.
I was shocked. I was like,
Yeah.
it was because it's like Nintendo had like
Yeah.
they lost me with the Wii's and
Yeah.
the Wii U's and the
Yeah.
Wii's. I don't know what they was doing.
Right. Right.
After Nintendo GameCube,
Yes.
Nintendo had lost me for a minute,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they came back with the Switch, and I was like, "You came back for me!" And like now, I can game again in the
Right.
way that is comfortable for my lifestyle.
Right.
So if I'm on a plane,
Yeah.
I can play me some Breath of the Wild. If I'm like in my hotel room trying to hide from doing social engagements, I can play, a little bit of Mario Kart. There's so many
Yes.
things I
Yeah.
can do with
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch that carrying around a console you just can't do. And
Yeah.
the games aren't too ridiculous.
Yes.
Like they don't take themselves too seriously. So
Yes.
there's great games on there. So
Yeah. I agree. It made me miss the PSP.
yes,
I
I
really
used
loved
to
the
love the
PSP.
PSP. Did you
Yeah.
ever play Loco Roco?
I don't think I played Logo Roco. I did a lot of the racing games and like the water games and things like that. But yeah, I loved the PSP because it was portable. It was like small. It wasn't like too much. Yeah, I absolutely love
It was,
my
it was
Switch
great.
now too.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why my posture is bad right now.
Like constantly like that. Yeah, you gotta remind yourself to like
Exactly.
hold it up. I've started connecting my Switch to my TV.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's been fun to be able to like at least keep my head up. Any projects you're working on upcoming that you can share with us? I'm sure there's some things that are under wraps, or is there anything that
No,
you want to
I
promote? Yeah.
don't like that for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm such a terrible social media person because like I see people, they're like, something's coming soon.
Right, right, right.
New announcement.
Right.
Like, what is it? I can't tell you yet. I'll tell you next week.
Right.
Teaser
You're like, just tell me.
post. And it's like I have a game that I've been working on for 7 years, and there's so many different iterations of it.
Yep.
So we're currently working on that last game board that I was
Yep.
telling you about. We're also working on a division of Sugar Gamers called Sugar Gamers Labs
Okay.
to sort of be solution oriented to the
Yep.
pipeline issue of individuals trying to get into the tech industry.
Right.
Because there's so many programs for kids and for women and so on and so forth, and they focus on like coding and programming.
Right.
But in my opinion, and I could be wrong, coding and programming is equivalent. Just learning it without other context is equivalent to just learning how to type. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
tool, and if you're not understanding how you're going to apply it creatively for yourself, it's a tool, right? And
Right.
there are so many programs that are coming out that eliminate the need for coding and programming. So if you don't have like an application of what you want to use it for, it's an
Right.
excellent skill to have, and you
Right.
should know something about it. But what I am teaching through Sugar Gamers Labs is pathways to different forms of expression within the technology industry.
Got
And
it.
video games is a great place to start because it's not intimidating.
Yep.
It's a form of play.
Yes.
And there are many different types of video games to like sort of learn how to make, to navigate, to sort of deconstruct.
Yes.
And we don't have that in schools. We
Yeah.
don't have that in colleges.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a big push for everyone to do esports.
Yep.
And esports is a sliver of what the video game industry pie is. So if we're thinking about video games generating over $150 billion plus each year,
Right.
which is going to be more because of the pandemic, esports might generate about 8 billion of that. And
Wow.
percentage-wise, that's a very
Wow. That's
low
not, yeah,
percentage,
that's not a lot.
right?
Yeah.
However, in the media, it's like the sexy topic. It's like taking over anything. Esports, and esports has begun to be so interchangeable with video games as a whole. And
Right.
esports is not video
Not.
games.
Yep.
So esports is several genres of video games
Yep.
that are all competitive and that all require a lot of time and effort to sort of immerse yourself in. And it is a great place to like start, but that is not the only form of being in the video game industry. Take The Witcher, for example.
Okay.
There needs to be most of us probably, when we didn't have nothing else to do, we probably watched The Witcher on Netflix.
Yep.
Which was interesting. But like, just look at that. This narrative, they had so much. Witcher came from a book, and it has so much like sort of narrative design put into it, and it was such a robust world. There was world building, there were like all sorts of different things that you had to do in that game. And now it's a Netflix series. Those are that goes to like 3 different genres of an industry that video games can apply to. So how would you gamify that narrative? My point in saying that is, we need to have more conversations about other ways to be in video games, other specialties, other jobs, other ways that we can identify being in the space. We don't all have to be pro gamers or content creators or on Twitch, and I think that the marketing behind a lot of games is like, oh, you gotta be on, and you don't. I'm not, and I'm doing things in video games, right? So, and I just think that's an important part of this, because too many kids it's almost equivalent to professional sports, right? When I was little, and
Esports
like,
is for sure.
When I was little, someone would come into the classroom like, what you want to be when you grow up? Little black boy, little black girl, and like back 20 years ago, maybe a little boy say, I want to be a basketball player, I want to be a baseball player, something like that, because that's where they might have seen themselves represented in that particular sport. They're not thinking like, I want to own a basketball team, or I want to even create a new sport. They're thinking of like, I want to be the player, because they see the player, they see themselves represented, they see this player being ultra successful and put on a pedestal. And it's the same thing happening in video games, which is a travesty. So it's like, what do you want to be? They're like, oh, I want to be a streamer, I want to be a pro gamer. There's nothing wrong with that, but we need more conversations about, how do you own an Epic Studios? How do you own a Blizzard Studios? How do you make that game? How do you put that narrative out into the world? Instead of like being a player, you can be the owner of the world that you build. And that's a lot more profitable. It's a little bit more challenging, but that option should be something that we're talking about a lot more.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love the idea of ownership and teaching people, like, when they talk about stocks. I have a friend who talks about stocks a lot, and he's like, if you're buying Apple products, buy stock in Apple, right? Like, buy a part of that ownership of the product that you love, so that when they make money, you're making money too, and you're supporting them, right? Like, it's sort of this thing that we don't really think about. But yeah, definitely being able to open your own studio. I know that there was, and I'm blanking on his name, but a black man who opened up a studio in Tokyo, an anime and manga studio.
Oh
yeah. And he, is one of the first, but he's like, look, I love this stuff. I love doing this. I'm going to open up my own studio and sort of do that. And I think that's so important for us to really think about, in terms of, we're creating the culture, so we might as well own it.
Exactly. So, I mean, and that's what Sugar Gamer Labs aims to do. We want to move beyond this, these very minimal options of how you can exist in these industries, and make a pipeline for those underrepresented demographics that have been sort of left behind in this rapidly evolving space. And like, sort of, just create pathways that are easy, accessible, warm, for all types of people, not just students, not just women, but people who, like, because by the time I got to a career in video games, I was already an adult, and there was no way I was going back to school and accruing more debt. That might be an option for some people, but that was not an option for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so like, what do people who were in my situation do when it's time to, upskill? Like,
yeah.
we're all doing this digital transformation. All companies are doing it where
Right.
we're going to have this digital component. There's going to be some form of gamification in so many different industries that now it's just time to have additional options of how we get there, how we get to
Yeah,
point A to point
yeah.
B.
Ugh, love that. I'm so excited about that. And really looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. My last question for you is a this or that question, and it is the ability to stop time or the ability to travel through
Ooh, that's a good one.
time. They're like similar but slightly different, right? If
They're
you think
very
about it.
different.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
very different.
yeah.
Man,
Give me a second to
travel.
think about
Huh?
it. I said I'll give you a
Well,
second to think about it.
man. Um, Probably the ability to travel through time.
Okay.
That seems like it'd be more expansive
Okay. Yeah.
because, like, stopping time would mean that you really have to be strategic about when
Mm,
you stop time, right?
yep.
So if you're not in the mindset, you'll always constantly be like, I could have stopped time at
Yep.
that moment. But if you could travel through time,
Right.
you could just wake up one day and you'd be like, hey, I wonder what it was like in
Yeah.
1857. Not that
Yeah.
I really want to go back to
Right. Yeah. I'm not trying to go back there, but yeah.
but you could if you could
Right.
travel through time. Can
Right.
you go back and forth or just it? You
Yes.
said through time, so
Anytime. Yeah. You can
the
go
rules
forward,
are
back, anything. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd rather travel through time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
stopping time I would need to be. That seems that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, do you know how many books? Man, now I'm thinking about it.
Listen, take it and run with it.
Oh my
Whatever you need to
god, I
do.
would be able to read again. I just stop. Whoa, I could just be like, man,
I'd
there's
like
so
5 hours to to do this thing or whatever.
oh my god, that
Yeah.
is man, stop in time though.
Yeah. Sometimes when I lived abroad, I actually kind of thought I think when you just travel or anything like that, that kind of feels like time travel or time stopping and things like that. And you think like, oh, okay, well, I'm living my life over here in this other country, and then when you get back, you realize that nobody else stopped their lives, right? Like everybody kept going, but you want to think that like everything at home stops and that you just get to do what you're doing in another country and then come back and everybody's the same. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. So
Nah,
yeah, I think about that a lot.
now I'm going back to the stopping of time. Like maybe I
Yeah.
overthought that. I think maybe stopping time might be the way to go.
Mm.
I think stopping time. I That's my final answer.
Final answer
Stopping
is stopping time.
time.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be my final answer. And I could like do anything.
Right.
'Cause time stops for everyone else but me, right?
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, you would control.
like
Well, you would stop it so that you could do whatever you needed to do.
I think I might have to stop time because, like, I am introverted enough to do that. I'm like,
Yep.
I can
Yep.
take a couple of days off. You know what? Stop in time. That's
All
my
right.
final answer.
All right. I love it. I love the thought process. I love how you got there. And thank you so much for sharing with me. This has been absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad we got to connect and really talk this through. And I cannot wait to see what you do next. It's always a pleasure. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I can't wait to see what conversations you're going to be having next.
Right.
And
We'll
again,
see.
your color coded bookshelf is just giving me all the life. I just
Yeah.
want to repeat that and
There we
reiterate
go.
that. Like that's not. I
Vibes.
was trying, and
Yes.
no.
Yeah. I love it. It's definitely a highlight for me in my space. But
Aw.
yeah. Thank you so much.